Sorry about that. I think I was muted. That was a bit of a mouthful, all those different program names. So thanks again for having us on. Very appreciative from Fisher House to be able to talk about what we do. I am going to, and I apologize because I haven't done this a lot, share my screen. And can you guys see that now, hopefully?
We cannot. Did you click the green button on the bottom? If not, I can probably bring up your presentation.
I did. I might have.
Sometimes you have to click share. Like you select what you want to share and then.
I click share screen and I click, oh, there we go. That might.
Perfect.
Did that fix it?
It did.
Okay, great. All right, and I'll get out of this soon. I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint presentations. So Fisher House, our primary mission at Fisher House is to build Fisher Houses across the country and even world, so that when a family member is in the hospital, whether it's at a military hospital or a VA hospital, the family can be by the side of their loved one. The really cool thing about Fisher House is that we take care of the entire family. It's not just about the service member or the veteran being in the hospital, but it can be anybody in your family. It can be your son, your daughter, your spouse, that can then use the Fisher House at any of our locations. So to date, as of today, we have 89 Fisher Houses. We just turned over our 89th house in Richmond. We built the second Fisher House there. Typically, they're all within walking distance of the medical center. The Fisher Houses have between 8 and 21 suites. And when I say suite, you basically have a private bedroom and a bathroom for each family. And the configuration is either 2 queens or 2 doubles. We've gone away from, in the old days, if you ever stayed at a Fisher House, we had some singles. We went away from that, knowing that more people like to come and are able to stay. And then we have a common kitchen and dining room, laundry, living room, playroom. And basically, this is the closest thing to home that you have when you're away from your own home. And so we want it to be truly a home and not a hotel. So eligibility and cost. There is absolutely no cost to staying in a Fisher House. For those of you who know what the Ronald McDonald House is, imagine the same concept, but for our military. And so the eligibility really is based on, were you a veteran or are you active duty? And then your family can use those services, typically at our VA locations. So as for those of you who might be active duty and then transitioning, it's the veteran who's receiving care at those locations. So typically it's the family staying in the house, but at all of our active duty locations, it can be anyone in the family who is receiving care. And typically you are living about 50 miles outside of the area. I will say that we do make exceptions. There's a lot of areas that you can live 35 miles outside or away from the hospital, for example, here in the DC area, and that commute could easily be well over an hour on some days. And so exceptions are made, but the key and most important thing is that there is no charge to our families at all. And in terms of how long can you stay, it depends on how long you need to be there. We've had families that have stayed there as short as 2 nights, all the way to 3 years. We've actually had a couple of families who were there well over 3 years because their loved one continued to be inpatient and receiving treatment regularly. So this map kind of shows just where all the Fisher Houses are currently located. And if you want more details on those, you can contact myself or it's on our website. And in order to use a Fisher House, you can contact the Fisher House directly and they will be able to let you know if they have room and if they're able to get you in to utilize that resource. So that's our primary mission, our Fisher Houses. But beyond that, we have a lot of other programs that we also have for our military and service members and their families. And those programs I run our HERO programs, and within that we have Hero Miles, and that's our flight program where we will fly families to the bedside of their loved ones, or we will fly you to recovery programs. You might be traveling to attend Warrior Games or Invictus Games as a family member. We send those families to those events as well. And so that we use frequent flyer miles that are donated, and we get family to the bedside. And one of the important things for all of you to know who are watching now, and if you need to get somewhere now to be at the bedside of a loved one, to take care of a loved one, that is a program that we are still running today. The airlines are still flying. We're still booking tickets on a regular basis. And if you are part of the caregiver support program within the VA, you are also qualified to receive a flight to bring family to your home to help take care of your loved one so that you can get a respite break as well. And to find out about that, you would contact your caregiver support coordinator at the VA to go ahead and submit an application to use that program. So that's our Hero Miles program. Our Hotels for Heroes program, when a Fisher House is full, instead of a manager having to tell you, hey, I'm really sorry, we don't have room for you at the Fisher House, we are able to get a hotel room and book you in a hotel. So that program is available not only in locations where we have Fisher Houses, but we all know that accidents happen a lot of times in other places from where you are currently living. And so that's in locations where, you might be away from home, where there may not be a Fisher House. And so this program is a resource that you would potentially also be able to contact us and be able to utilize as well. And then I talk a little bit about Warrior Games and Invictus Games. Hopefully a lot of you are familiar with that. And those programs are focused on the veteran or the service member to compete in. But at Fisher House, we believe family is the best medicine. And so what we did 10 years ago was we started the family program at Warrior Games, because having your family by your side truly is critical. And we believe family is on that recovery journey as well. So we fly 2 family members to the event. We pay for their lodging, all of their meals. We give them swag, they get credentials, they come to all the special events. And the whole goal is to have you there so that you can be there with your loved one and watch them compete. A lot of times we meet families where they're at the worst of times when you need to be at the hospital, staying at a Fisher House because your loved one, has just gone through a really, difficult time. And as that journey continues and you get better, then finally they're able to compete in these games. And in many cases, you never thought that was going to happen. And to be able to bring the family back to that and to be a part of it and to ensure that that is not a financial burden is something that we want to do. So we do that for both Warrior Games and Invictus Games and are very much a part of that. And we also try and support families. A lot of the different services have their own Wounded Warrior programs that they put on. And we try and get family members to those where there are programs for caregivers as well. So that's kind of what falls within our realm. But what we also do, which is really important, are scholarships. We offer scholarships to military children, and we also have scholarships for spouses and support other organizations that support spouses who are going back to get credentialing or licensed in a new state when they've moved to a new location. And those are available to apply for as well. So I'm gonna flip, let's see, that's just about staying in touch. That's, I guess, the fast version of Fisher House. Are there any questions?
All right, so thank you for coming and presenting for us today.
Absolutely.
One question, which I was also wondering, how do you go about donating frequent flyer miles to your program?
So the best way to donate is to contact the airline. So for example, if you want to donate with United Airlines, you can either log on to your account and there's some links and you just follow it through. You say you want to donate. But if you go to our website, we actually have an area under Hero Miles and it says how to donate. And we have links for every single one of the airlines that we are partnered with. I will tell you that the one airline that's a little bit confusing sometimes is American Airlines. They now have started something called Pillars, and they have, those who serve pillar, a child pillar. So you can pick the pillar where you want your miles to go, and then they designate them or give them to different organizations. So just a heads up, if anybody's going to donate on American, it just looks a little bit differently, but you would donate under the those who serve pillar. But for all of the other airlines, and we're incredibly grateful to our partners, they let you donate directly. And I will tell you that is a huge need. And, even if you have 1,000 miles, you may not have, 20,000. we don't need 20,000. It's, you know, if everybody would donate 1,000 miles, that 25 people bringing that together means we can buy a plane ticket to get a mom or a family member to be by their loved one's bedside. And one of the things a lot of people, just to mention this also about Hero Miles, is we don't have a limit as to how many times you can use it. We've had cases where a family, the Allen family, their husband was injured and she needed to go back and forth between Tennessee and Washington, D.C. weekly. She went back and forth, 1 week to take care of her family, 1 week to be with her husband. And so we literally flew her every week back and forth. So if you're in a situation like that, or you need to get to the bedside, you know, we can talk to you about if you're worried about how frequently you'll use it. But what I always say is, you know, share that with your friends. And before they buy a plane ticket to get somewhere, contact us, talk to the caseworkers, talk to the social workers. Don't spend your money, because what I'm sure you all know is that you'll need your money later on. That money, you're going to need it for something else. So we want to try and remove as many burdens as we can early on in the process to make it easier for you.
Perfect. Well, that was the only question we had today. And I did put the link to the website and contact information in the chat. So if anyone has questions, they can reach out as well.
All right, terrific. Thanks so much for having us.